Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching this in the world. I hope you guys are doing okay. And happy Easter. If I haven't said it already, I hope everyone is safe and happy and enjoying their time with their family. So I'm going to bring you a very light-hearted topic today. It's going to be nothing serious. It's just going to be about a woman that would like to have a final purge of gamers that she doesn't agree with. It says here, BBC gaming presenter Jules Hardy calls for current Sweet Baby Inc. discourse to end with a final purge of ideological opponents from the medium. This sounds like fun. In the view of BBC gaming presenter Jules Hardy, the best way for current discourse surrounding Sweet Baby Inc. to resolve itself would be with a final purge of those players who are critical of the general presence of diversity, equity and inclusion focused consultation companies within the gaming industry. Final purge, those are interesting words to use against gamers. Very, very interesting words to use. That sounds to me like people that disagree with you, you want them to just disappear. And disappear how exactly? Very interesting language. This imbecile tweeted out, can we A, agree that for round 2 of this, it can be the final purge of these kinds of gamers? It's 2024, I've been arguing about this for decades. Can we have a last full detox of these dudes so we can get back to the positive gaming community we have been creating? Now when I say dude, usually I'm referring to guy and girl, that's how me and my friends talk to each other, but I know a lot of people when they say dude, they're referring to guys, and that's what I'm assuming Jules is doing here as well. See, people like Jules seem to forget that the number of women playing games is growing, and the number of women that agree with this bullshit is minuscule. They tried to make it out like it's guys that are toxic, that it's guys that need to disappear in the world of gaming. When really, when you go to Comic Con, you go to Anime Con, or you go to gaming conventions, most of the girls that I meet are in the same train of thought as the rest of us. Most of them are out here playing Helldivers, just want to shoot some aliens, don't want any of this political jargon in their games. People like this that are calling for a final purge, these are the kinds of people that are trying to destroy the gaming industry. And you know what I find the weirdest about all of this is that this is one of the only industries, there's a few out there that do this, but this is one of the only industries where they're actively trying to destroy the people that put money in their wallets. We are the ones that put money in their wallets, right? They produce a product at their expense. Their companies spend a lot of money producing a product and then we purchase it. I don't understand why you would actively want to push away the people that line your pockets. It really makes no sense to me whatsoever. You realize that the overwhelming majority of gamers are against this DEI and this Sweet Baby Inc. nonsense. And so if you push everyone away and we start buying games only from Japan, only from Korea, only from other parts of the world, you guys will be out of a job. What part of that do you not understand? This is baffling to me that you want to push away the people that pay your bills. She goes on to say, nah, I want to purge the hate and vitriol from gamers who refuse to allow gaming to evolve and adapt as we humans are doing. I have no problem with opposing viewpoints, but hate, violence and aggressive behavior isn't okay in any realm you live within. And then Scratch Point says, we humans is some invasion of the body snatchers type talk. And I mean, the wording of her tweet is just bizarre on every single scale. We humans? Like, what the hell are you talking about? And vitriol, you're the one using the word purge, purging people. And you realize that the people that you want to purge are actually the majority. This is a very small minority. Now, the reason that we talk about these things is that if you don't bring them into the light, they will become the majority. And before you know it, games as we know them will be gone. I mean, they're already going down a very, very shaky road at this point. But people like Jules Hardy do need to be put in the light, because if they're left to fester in the dark for too long, they will pick up steam. And obviously the tweet got absolutely ratioed. People basically didn't like it. She's got over 40,000 followers, I think. It got like 22 likes by the time I was checking. Figuratively Literal says, as someone who has been gaming since the debut of Pac-Man, I can say that their hate and vitriol didn't exist prior to the ideologues entering the hobby in the last 20 years. That's entirely true. I don't remember these sort of things happening when I was younger. This was not something that was really at the forefront of gaming, not until at least the last 15 years, I'd say. It was really as deep as Sega versus Nintendo. It was nothing like this. It was not politically driven at all. Diversity and Dragon says violence, aka no, I think you're wrong. That's the thing. If you disagree with these people, they immediately call you a bigot. They immediately call you every single phobe under the planet. They talk about gamers like we are the worst people on the planet, and yet this is the industry they work in. They have no respect for their consumer base. Where is the fun? Why do you not think video games are about having fun? This is the worst ratio I have ever witnessed. What is your definition of gaming to evolve and adapt exactly? No likes on this tweet. I wonder why. She has 45,000 followers and not one of them has liked her post yet. She's getting ratioed multiple times by nobodies. And it is just really, really bizarre that people that work within the industry that they profess to love also seem to hate so many aspects of it. Now, I know that you guys watching this video and myself, we love gaming. Gaming's a big part of our lives, and the reason that we talk about these things is that we don't want these people who genuinely have no interest in games whatsoever. This is just the latest medium they can get their grubby paws on and try to destroy and warp. We want it to survive. They want to destroy it. And so talking about these things and bringing them up is extremely important, because you don't want it to get to the point where we no longer have any games that are not free of this nonsense. It's very clear to see where gamers are spending their money. I mean, Helldivers is a relatively indie game and it has absolutely exploded and they absolutely hate it. Stellar Blade is going to do very well, and I would say even if you weren't going to play it originally, you should really give Stellar Blade a go. These kinds of people are the ones that stand against it, and if they're the ones that stand against it, at the very least you should look into it and see why they're standing against it. Now at GDC there was a really weird protest that took place, and Learning the Law says Western game developers screaming at GDC 2024 against Gamergate, patriarchy and the industry. Totally sane behavior, no wonder they end up making female characters look like vegan gremlins. And as you guys will see in a moment, there are just a bunch of weirdos screaming their heads off at a wall for whatever reason at GDC instead of going in there and talking about games. Says here, GDC is game industry's premier professional event championing game developers and the advancement of their craft. The Game Developers Conference brings the game development community together to exchange ideas, solve problems, and shape the future of the industry across 5 days of education, inspiration, and networking. Attendees include programmers, artists, producers, game designers, audio professionals, and business leaders. I do find it funny that it says premier professional event and you've got these people acting like they have been locked up in a zoo outside of a gaming convention. Game developers come together at GDC for a GD Scream to vent rage at the state of the industry. It feels hard to be here and pretend like everything is fine. And this was apparently written by somebody at PC Gamer, so I can only imagine where this stupid article is going to go. It's really weird that you're privileged to work in an industry like the gaming industry, and a part of the world where you're relatively safe and free from war, famine, disease, and most things that ravage other parts of the world, and yet you pretend like the walls are closing in on you and that we are the beasts that need to be slain, when really all we're asking for you to do is to produce good games. That's all we want from you. I will never understand people that are producing something for a consumer base and the consumer base is saying, hey, we don't really like this, and you're going, well, tough shit, eat it up. You know, at some point you're going to all go out of business if you continue down this road. Developers at GDC gathered today to express their feelings about the state of the game industry and what under the circumstances is really the only reasonable way to react, with a scream. Yeah, that sounds like it came from a sane person. The game industry is falling apart around us and we're all flocking to San Francisco for a week to pretend like this is fine, the GD Scream event announcement states. Let's take a minute where we all stop pretending and express just how it feels to be a game developer in 2024. Oh, it sounds so difficult to be a game developer. Do you know what the problem here is? You've got wax in your ears and you're not listening. If we don't want something, we won't buy it. It's that simple. And you either conform and you produce games that we like, or produce games you like and nobody will buy them, and then eventually you'll no longer be producing them because there'll be no money coming in. Join us for a collective moment of catharsis, camaraderie, and caterwauling. Caterwauling, what the fuck is that? Let's descend upon Yerba Buena, and when the clock strikes noon, have ourselves a nice big GD Scream, because that is what sane adults do. The public scream, organized by former Epic Games producer Carol Shaw and Fortnite Festival designer Scott John Siegel, took place at 12 p.m. and was exactly what it sounds like, a raw expression of outrage over an industry that has laid off thousands of developers over the past year, throwing countless lives into turmoil in pursuit of shareholder value. Now, I'm willing to bet that a lot of people have lost their jobs in the Western gaming industry because of the games that they are putting out and the consumers are not buying them. Case in point, Suicide Squad. They put a lot of money into that game and they got very little return. Now, I would imagine that would affect the lives of the people working on that game. If you're not getting the money back that you put out, then obviously jobs are going to be affected. That's how businesses work. Now, I'm sure there's loads of moving pieces that go into people losing their jobs. We are at that time of the year where companies are laying off people, so there's loads of reasons, but it can't help that you put games out that people don't want. Speaking to PC Gamer at the event, Siegel said he was prompted to organize the event by the frustration he's felt over widespread layoffs and the recent Gamergate 2.0 controversy over narrative consultancy firm Sweet Baby Inc. So So if we put the layoffs aside, because there are a lot of moving pieces in terms of how companies lay off their workers, and we just look at Gamergate 2.0 and the controversy around Sweet Baby Inc., it's very, very, very simple, guys. Like I've said 100 times, and I'll keep saying it, if we don't like something, we make it known. I've said it 100 times on this channel. We speak with our wallets. Our money is what keeps things going. And if we don't like something, and we don't like the fact that Sweet Baby Inc. is involved in something, then we will let it be known. And you can either suck it up and stop including their DEI nonsense in our games, or you can continue to hire them, and you can continue to have game that fails and fails and fails. Now, there's no shortage of games to purchase. Steam has a wide array of games that I can purchase that have nothing to do with this company. There are loads of games that exist on the PS5 that I can purchase that have nothing to do with this gaming company or this gaming consultancy firm. What you need to understand is that gamers have options. And indie games are doing a lot for gamers right now. There are a lot of cool indie games. That's why a lot of people are playing games like Helldivers and Power World, and a lot of indie horror games, for example, that have done great over the years, like Amnesia, Demonologists, Outlast. And so we don't need to buy these games. The AAA gaming sphere is crumbling because you guys have your heads so firmly up your asses that you can't see that if you continue to push this nonsense on us, we will push it away and we will win, because ultimately you have to produce something that people want to buy. Now, you'll be able to get away with it with certain IPs. Like I said, Spider-Man, God of War, those sort of things do have Sweet Baby Inc.'s influence or other narrative firms' influences all over them, and you can see them very clearly. But because they are overall good games and they have a legacy behind them, especially Spider-Man, that would be very hard for you to crush. You'll be able to get away with it with some IPs. But most IPs, like Suicide Squad, that does not have the favor of the people, cannot get away with it. And over time, one by one, these games will fall. And we will just look back on a time when a God of War or a Spider-Man was a great game and was not riddled by your ideological nonsense. When you have this many people coming together in the game industry, going to all these events, having all these people attend presentations and award ceremonies where not necessarily everyone is even mentioning the layoffs, even mentioning where the culture is currently, it all feels absurd, Siegel said. At the end of the day, it feels hard to be here and pretend like everything is fine in our industry, to say nothing of the world when things very much aren't. Again, just a load of nonsense, a load of crying, a load of shouting into the abyss over nothing. The problem here is that they don't want to produce the games that we want them to produce. And so there's a conflict here. What they don't seem to understand is that the gamers will win the conflict. We're always going to win the conflict. So all I really wanted to do, can we just get people together for just a moment of catharsis, a single minute, smack in the middle of this entire GDC? Can we just have some cathartic caterwauling? I guess that is wailing at the wall. Even if we can say nothing else, even if there's nothing else, we feel like there's nothing else we can say at this moment. Don't let GDC go by without acknowledging that collectively we feel like things are not okay and we want things to be different. And then you've got some panels here where at GDC they are discussing Marxism. They have completely lost the plot. They just do not understand. They don't get their own medium. It's kind of hard to read those panels because they're slanted, but I believe it says Marxism takes a deterministic approach to history. Before socialism, there must be capitalism. It may sound like crazy talk. It does sound like crazy talk. But when you turn into a design, I can't read the rest of that. Honestly, it just sounds like nonsense. Then on the other side, you've got lessons learned, the invitation, the selection process, education, privilege and oppression, microaggressions, I think that says, white fragility, of course, call out culture. And then you've got this slide here that says the world we see. Population female in world was reported 49.72% in 2021 according to the World Bank collection of development indicators compiled from officially recognized sources. And then over here they have the Mega Man franchise, which none of these people have anything to do with whatsoever, so I find it really strange that they chose that picture to put up there. But it says Mega Man franchise, 30 plus titles, 100 plus characters, 90% male protagonist, 0 darker skinned characters. Now let me just be the spokesperson for darker skinned people, although I would be considered light skinned amongst black people. I have darker skin than the people writing this, I assume. Let me just tell you, I am not bothered by the fact that there are not black characters in Mega Man. I am not bothered by the fact that there are not black characters in a Japanese game about Mega Man. Like seriously, you could have chosen something better than that. That is so stupid, but then I don't know really what I'm expecting from you guys. Grum says, take this, the organization with ties to government funding that defended SBI's harassment campaign is holding 2 talks at GDC. While there may be good talks at GDC, this group is trying to spy on gamers and we should be wary. And here you've got a screenshot saying advocacy, micro talk, culture, civics and karma. And you've also got retaining diverse employees, taking the next step in DEIB. I don't know what the B stands for. It can't be anything good. And this was just a quick video to show you that these guys have no intentions of slowing down, and I don't think we should have any intentions of slowing down either. I think talking about this is very, very important, and I would encourage any of you that have YouTube channels that feel passionately about games and don't want Western games to fall to these absolute lunatics. Even if you don't have a big base, even if you're just starting out on YouTube, you should speak about these things, because we can't let these people destroy everything they touch. We can't just let them win, and they need to understand, they need to get through their thick skulls that the industry works because we want it to work. The industry will thrive if we want it to thrive. The same way of the MCU. When the MCU was thriving, that was because we were going to the cinemas to watch these films. As they continuously got worse and continuously injected ideological nonsense into the films, more and more of us tuned out. And it's not just people that are on the internet that are making content like myself. This is everyday people, your mums, your dads, your cousins, people that are not really tuned into what's going on. They may not understand fully, but they can see enough to go, hey, this isn't really the Marvel that I was watching before. And people stopped watching in droves, men and women. They like to make out that it's men that are doing these things, but women are half of the population. And so if women felt differently to men, these films would still be doing good. Otherwise, what they're saying is the only reason that the films succeeded before is because men were watching, which is not true. Plenty of women were going to watch before, and the same goes for the gaming industry. If we do not fund them, if we do not give them our money, they can't do anything. They will have to make games that we like. And so, whilst I have repeated this talking point on this channel to death, in case there are new people watching here, you need to understand that the power is in your wallet. Whether that be a little card, whether that be on your phone, whether that be a physical wallet with your money inside it, that thing you hold in your hand holds the key to the gaming industry and the future of these games. And whilst I don't like the idea of anybody going out of business, whilst I don't like the idea of layoffs, you know, people have families to feed, other people get directly or indirectly affected by the behavior of some of these people in the gaming industry. At the end of the day, if this medium is to be saved from these leeches, the only way that we can really teach them a lesson is to not support their games. Now, I've taken a very hard stance in saying that if I am aware that SBI, Sweet Baby Inc. is involved in these games in any way, shape or form, I'm not going to support them. I'm not going to buy their stupid little add-ons. I'm not going to buy the game on its base. Now, I understand there's going to be some games that for some people, their channels kind of rely on them, and I completely get that. If you buy the base game, I understand that. But I think if that stuff is inserted in the game and you're aware of it, I would encourage you to call it out, and I would encourage you to not support their add-ons. For the final time, the only way things are going to change is that if we keep on highlighting these things and showing everybody how crazy these people are and how much they've lost touch with reality. Games like Sparking Zero, games like Stellar Blade, games like Helldivers, Power World, games of that nature, where these DEI things are not implemented in them. They're just good games where you can get sucked into the fantasy of it. That is what gamers should be supporting, in my opinion. Now, I'm not in control of what you do with your wallets, neither is any other content creator. Now, I would not be so brazen as to demand that you spend your money on these games and turn away from these games that have SBI involvement. My argument is that if we don't want these people in there, we should probably do something about it. And the best thing we can do about it is make people aware with videos like this, with Twitter, by retweeting people like Grums that are making people aware of this, and by not going and supporting their games. Support things that actually put good products out there. For example, King Kong vs Godzilla has just come out, and whilst I haven't seen it yet, I do plan on watching it. Everyone that I've spoken to said, yeah, this is just a good ass film. There's just a lot of good shit in it. Maybe there'll be things in that film that I pick up on, but the people that have told me this, they're trusted sources. If that is the case, those are the kinds of things we should be supporting, not these stupid movies where they try to force things on us like Madam Web or The Eternals or any of this horse shit that the MCU's been putting out, and the same goes for the gaming industry. Any nonsense where they continue to try to push this stuff, like the Black Panther game that's coming out, for example, that has a team that excluded white people from working on the game and excluded people from other races to create a safe space, that alone puts me off supporting people that are making games like that. Anyways, guys, I hope you have a happy Easter. I hope you're all well, and I hope you're all safe, and I hope you're enjoying your gaming. Take care, have a good day, and peace.